Hi guys, welcome back. It's been a little over a month since I have uploaded a video. I decided I should probably make another one. I wanted to talk about today my labor and delivery story. I'm going to try to not make this long, but I do want to talk about like certain things, and if it's going to be long, maybe I will put it into like part 1, part 2 or something. So yeah, my due date was April 26th, and I ended up having Kaya on April 28th. I was induced because I had a little bit of high blood pressure throughout the end of my pregnancy, which it wasn't very high at all, but it was a factor. And then I was going to go past my due date when at my last doctor's appointment. I wasn't dilated or anything yet, so it was still gonna be a while, more than likely. So he gave me the option of waiting another week to come back to another appointment to see if I would progress any on my own or to schedule an induction. And I was ready to have her, so I said let's schedule this. So we did. So I went into the hospital on Thursday evening of April 27th. We might as well just go ahead and skip all of that and here's Kaya Rose because she wants to be fed. Say hi. Tell everyone hi. Say I'm hungry. You hungry? I'm kind of just sitting on the floor here because I got us all set up, but here, is this what you want? No? It's not? Here. She always makes this nasty face like I gave her dirt. You know that's what you want. Or did you just want to be helped? What do you want? You want it? Okay, so anyway, I went in the hospital on 4/27 at 6 p.m. so they could start the medicine, what's it called, the Cytotec, to soften my cervix. They give that to you all night long. They insert it vaginally to soften your cervix, so you get it every 4 hours. So they started that. She's tooting. Sorry if you can hear it. Are you a tutor bug? But they give you that every 4 hours, and so I didn't realize when I went in on the 27th, I knew they were going to start that medicine, but I did not know that A, starting then, you can't get up, and B, which a friend had told me, that you can't have anything to eat or drink after that. So starting at 6 o'clock, I was allowed ice chips, and which luckily we ate Jimmy John's before we went, and I was to have nothing to eat until after she was born. But so, which I did know that, so I ate Jimmy John's before we went, but I was not aware that I was not going to be able to get up. And you know, at that point, when you're 40 weeks pregnant, so you can actually see her, when you're 40 weeks pregnant, you're having to pee all the time, and they're still giving me fluids through an IV even though I can't drink anything, so I'm still having to pee. And so when they give you the Cytotec, you can't pee for 2 hours after they insert it, and then so you're waiting at least that long, and then they insert it every 4 hours. So there's only a window when you can go to the restroom, and then when the reason you can't get up is because they monitor the baby's heart rate. They put one of those things on your belly to monitor her heart rate, just to make sure she's okay with everything that's going on and there's no stress on her. So that's why you can't get up, because they have the monitors. And so every time I had to pee, which was every time they came in, they had to like undo all the monitors and stuff, and like I had to put them around my neck and carry them to the restroom, all those monitors with my IV and all that, and it was such a pain in the butt. And I did not realize that that was what was going to be happening. But so anyway, they did that, and then on Friday morning, which was April 28th, the doctor came in and broke my water at 9:30 in the morning, and also they started the Pitocin to get the labor going. So they did that at 9:30, and right when they broke my water, I can't remember what he called it, but basically she had already had a bowel movement, so you could see it in my water. She just kind of smirked. That was funny. Did you have a bowel movement, Mommy? Did you? But so yeah, that it wasn't a big deal either. They just had to take extra precaution that she does not ingest any of it or anything like that. Goodness, you're just a tootin' girl, aren't ya? So anyway, labor started then at like 9:30. They did let me take a quick shower after they broke my water, so I did go in. I didn't wash my hair or anything, but I washed off and kind of freshened up type thing, brushed my teeth, and did all that after they broke my water. And then you know, for the next few hours things were just kind of like chill, laid back. I finally got to feel contractions, which at this point they are not bad at all. They are you look all over her hair, isn't it crazy? But contractions, I could feel them, but no big deal. And then it was probably not until about, I'm going to say I got the epidural at 1:30, which this timeline is a little, I'm not sure. I'm going to say 1:30 in the afternoon is when I got the epidural. But when she came in and asked me if I wanted it, I told her no, because I said, you know, I think I still have a little bit left in me. I don't need it yet. And she said, well, I just want to warn you that they are going to a C-section at 2. So if you don't get the epidural before, then you're going to have to wait until after. And I'm scared that that's going to be too long and you'll wish you'd gotten it before. So I said, that's fine, just send them in, like, no big deal. And by the time that I had said, okay, go ahead and send them in, and they came in, things got serious, at least for me. I was hurting, I was crying, the contractions I were feeling them much stronger. So I was so glad, because if I would have had to wait until after that C-section to get my epidural, I would have been in rare form. So thank goodness, thank you nurse for telling me that. It saved me. So when he came in to give the epidural, I was ready, crying, wanting it. As you guys know, I'm horrible with needles, so I was still nervous. I think that was half the reason I was crying, is because I was pretty nervous about it. But the worst part is just them numbing it, and then he just told me, you know, hold still and kind of push back, and that was hard to do, push back knowing what's happening. But I did kind of jump a little, and he said, you've got to be still, you know, it's really important not for you not to move. So but he did get it in, and like instantly, like complete instantly, I felt so much better. And I remember I laid back down, and I just remember thinking, like, I've never had any surgeries or been under any kind of anesthesia before or anything, so I had no idea what to expect. And I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, they must have given me too much. Like, I feel like it's a lot. I felt like I was getting ready to, like, pee or poop all over the table. I was feeling all this pressure. They kept asking me to switch sides, you know, like, you know, they switch you back and forth, back and forth. What's the matter? And there was no way I was lifting my butt. My husband had to come and, like, take my legs and physically move me, because I could not do it. But anyway, it was after I got the epidural, no big deal. All I had to do was just lay there and relax. And I just remember that everyone kept talking to me, and I just remember thinking, like, I just can't even listen. I would try to respond to them in some sort of way, but I don't know what they were saying. I was in my own world. I was out of it. But so I got that, I think, at like 1:30, and then they came in and checked me a little bit later. So when I got the epidural, I think it was 3 to 4 centimeters, and so when they came back in a few hours later to check me, I was at 7. And then she came back in like an hour later, and it was time. It was ready to go. I remember the nurse, my room was full of people, and my nurse came up to me and she whispered in my ear and she said, "It's time." And I said, "It's time already?" And she said, "Yeah, it's time." And it was 4:30 in the afternoon, and when I started pushing, but I just remember thinking, I'm still not mentally prepared to do this, but I did. So anyway, I started pushing at 4:30, and I pushed for 1 hour and 1 minute. So she was born at 5:31 on April 28th, and I had my husband in the room, my mom, and my mother-in-law were all in the room, and it was just the nurse, us four and the nurse, until it was time. And I remember someone either called or peeked their head in and said, the doctor went home. He said to call him when it's time. He's going to need about 20 minutes to get back. And what? And at that time, the nurse said, "Well, I need him now. I don't have 20 minutes. So I was pushing and stuff, and then at one point she said, "Okay, maybe let's slow it down a little," because he hadn't come. He hadn't, arrived yet. And then I remember I got to be to a point where I said, "I can't not push. Like, she's coming out. I can feel it. She's coming out." And so she called like another doctor that was there, and he was actually delivering a baby at that same time. And so I think like everyone kind of was in a small panic, and then all of a sudden my doctor came rushing through the doors, and I remember he had ran in, and it was storming out really bad, and so he was soaking wet from running in from the storm. But so 3 pushes later, after he made it, she was out. You think it's funny, huh? I guess you can't really see her, but she's asleep. I might put her down in this thing. You keep smiling because you know it's funny. So yeah, that's the labor was much easier than I had anticipated. I was really worried, and needles, blood, all that's not my thing. I will say that after I had her, the amount of bleeding and stuff was a lot, and I did not expect that, and I did not expect to continue to bleed for weeks after quite a bit. So like I said, today is exactly 4 weeks, and I still am bleeding like the tiniest bit. So that's one thing I didn't expect. And being someone who is scared of blood, that I think was the hardest part for me. It was right after I had her, and then all the bleeding that was happening and all that. So that part, not fun. I don't know if I said this. She was 6 pounds, 9 ounces, and 20 inches long. And by the time we left the hospital, she had went down to 6'3". So when we went home, she weighed 6'3". And the only other thing really that I found hard, like the labor, I'm not going to say was hard at all. I'm going to say I would do it again tomorrow. It was after, like I said, that was hard. And my tailbone was killing me after. I think that, besides the bleeding, was the bleeding's not painful, obviously. I just wasn't comfortable with that, but my tailbone hurt so bad. It still hurts really bad. I can't, when I sit down, notice I sit up on it, or when I sit like on, like I'll kind of cross my leg under and sit on my leg. I still cannot like sit on the couch with a chair and like sit back like normal. Like I'm on my hands. I'm not actually putting pressure on it because it hurts so much. And it hurt I mean, it is much better now than it was, but when I was in the hospital and they would come in every single time, they're like, how are you? And I'm like, my tailbone, like, I could not, like, to get up and down, especially the first night taking care of her. Oh man, it hurt really bad. And are you back awake? And they were giving me Motrin. I think it was Motrin. Was it Motrin for it? Which, don't even bother. That did nothing. They did finally the second night when I was complaining that it still hurt so bad. They gave me a Norco, which I honestly don't think that helped either. I think that made me more so maybe not care as much that it hurt, but it still hurt. So I didn't have another one of those. I don't think that really helped either. So I go back to the doctor this coming week on Wednesday on May 31st, and so I am going to ask them, you know, is it normal for my tailbone to still be hurting? Because to drive in a car, I like to sit, because you have to kind of sit back when you're driving. You don't have to, but it's more comfortable. That kills. I can't rock her like in a normal rocker. I have to sit sideways and like hold her weird, and it's just really annoying. And I guess I didn't realize that was going to happen. I think it's probably pretty normal. Like I said, every time when they came in, when I was in the hospital, I would have them check it. I even showed them where it was hurting, and you know, they said it's fine. It's just probably, you know, I put a lot of pressure on it delivering her. So basically, you know, even if something was wrong with it, even if I did fracture it, I don't think they do anything about it. I think I basically just wait for it to heal. So either way, it's probably just, it is what it is. One more thing I wanted to talk about real quick in this video, which I hope I'm not really forgetting anything, because I feel like this went much faster than I thought it was going to. There's not really a lot I have to say about the labor part, because it was really easy. But breastfeeding. I said I was going to breastfeed, and I did not. The very first night, on that Friday night, on the 28th, when I had her. Oh, you're getting antsy pants. Are you getting ants in your pants? Are you being an antsy pants? Are you hungry? No? You're not? You want to say hi closer? Say hi. Yes. But the very first night when I was breastfeeding, or trying to, look, it's right here. You don't have to eat your hand. There we go. I'm not breastfeeding now, obviously. She's on formula, but I was not prepared for how hard that was going to be either. I thought that you made the decision to breastfeed, they showed you how, and it was done. And the first night, she still does this with a bottle. Like, she holds a bottle in her mouth even when she doesn't necessarily want it. I think it's more of a comfort type thing. But the very first night after I'd had her, she wanted to latch on all night long. Like, all night long. She was not satisfied. And it hurt so incredibly bad. Just after one night, my nipples were bloody and raw, and every time it just hurt so bad, and she just was never satisfied. She wanted to do that the whole entire night, and then going into the next morning, and you're an emotional mess to begin with. You're exhausted. She didn't sleep the whole night. I didn't sleep the whole night. I hadn't slept for days. And she was wanting to do that. And, like, you know, at that point, your milk hasn't come in, so it's just, like, the colostrum or whatever, which I guess I didn't realize. And so by Saturday morning, I was so upset. I could not do anything. That's all she wanted to do is feed. So I said, can I try to pump? And so maybe my husband can do it so I can, like, get a second to go to sleep. And they're like, oh yeah, sure. So I have no idea how long you should pump for. I've never done this before. Which all this breastfeeding thing, probably completely my fault. If I was serious about it, I should have done my research, and I should have taken the class. I didn't. I did Google it a little and like read about it, but clearly not enough because I was clueless. I had no idea how for her to latch on. There was I couldn't find a comfortable way to hold her. I didn't feel like she was comfortable. I wasn't comfortable. I wasn't comfortable having anybody watch me do it, so I was having to have everyone get out, which was all the time. And but so anyway, they said pump for 20 minutes. So I did, and I seriously got one drop. And while that's, I guess, completely normal, I don't know. I didn't know that at the time, and I feel like I lost my shit. I was so upset, and so when they came back in, I said, bring me a bottle, and they were like, no, this is completely normal, like, that one drop has so many calories in it, that's all she really needs, she'll get what she needs. And then ask if I wanted a lactation consultant to come in and talk with me, and at this point, like, I had laid there and been upset and, like, stewed about it, and already come to the decision that I was done. And so at that time, yes, they did offer for a lactation consultant to come in, but I had already made my decision and I wasn't going to do it. So they did. They brought me bottles and I went from there. And while I kind of wish I would have stuck it out a little longer, I feel like it was more of an emotional decision. I probably should have given it a little longer because I gave it like one night, but actually once I did make the decision to start formula feeding, I felt like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. So I don't know, I think it was probably the right decision for me. When I got home a few days later, my milk did come in, and it was pretty painful, which I knew it would be since I wasn't pumping or anything to get rid of it, because I wanted it to dry up. So
I'm trying to get you in there so they can see you.
But it was only painful for probably like a day. And then other than that, they were still hard and engorged, but it wasn't bad pain at all. So anyway, I chose to formula feed, and I am happy with that decision. We actually have one of those, I can't think of the name of it, but it's pretty much like a Keurig for the formula, like you just put the formula in the top and then the water on the side, and then you choose the ounce, and it makes a bottle for you in like 30 seconds. So I don't know how much those are. My parents had got that for me, but I think they're like a couple $100, worth every penny, worth every stinking penny. So I remember the first time I went somewhere, I took her to a softball game of my niece's, and I was like, how do you make a bottle if you don't have your little, if you don't have that machine to do it for you? I had to like read on the back of the formula thing to even see how, and that's really sad. But anyway, yes, worth every penny. If you guys are thinking about getting one of those, do it. It's awesome. I can show you guys if you want to see how it works next time. But yeah, it's completely worth it, I think. But I think that's it for this video. I think this is going to end up being long enough. I can do an update like after I go back to the doctor this week about my tailbone and see what the deal is. But she actually went to the doctor this morning and for her 1-month checkup, and so maybe on today's Friday the 26th. Nope. Yes, today's Friday, May 26th. So on Sunday, the May 28th, she'll be 1 month old. So of course I'm gonna like take her a picture and do the little board of what she's got going on She's keeps smiling. I don't know if you can see it. It's the sweetest thing in my life. But I'll probably do a 1 month update of her and what's been going on with her and what we've been doing. And so this is kind of my update, so maybe I'll do one for her too. Because now she's much more important than I am, right? Right. Okay. Well, thanks for watching.